4 years. This movie has been in limbo for 4 years. It's a cursed film at this point, so, I mean, naturally, it only makes sense for it to come out in theaters in the middle of a global pandemic. What could possibly go wrong?
What's the last thing you remember, Danny? He said we had to run.
New Mutants is directed by Josh Boone. It stars Blue Hunt, Maisie Williams, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Heaton, and Henry Zaga, and it tells the story of 5 young mutants who are held in a secret facility against their will, who are forced to face their fears and overcome their collective trauma in order to escape. That's right, this is an X-Men horror movie. So before I get into this, I want to talk about a few things. First being this movie's cursed past. This movie was originally meant to be released in 2018. The first trailer dropped in 2017, and then it was pushed back like 5 or 6 times, and there were rumors of reshoots, no one knew what was going on. Usually a bad sign. Well, no, because what happened here was actually that during the initial pushbacks, Fox wanted to do reshoots for this movie, I believe following the success of It Chapter 1. Boone was against this and fought tooth and nail to keep the cut that was his original cut. Eventually they reached a standstill, no one knew what was going on, and then the Fox-Disney merger happened, which threw a whole other wrench into the machine. No one knew what Disney was going to do with this movie. There were rumors of it getting released on Disney+, there were rumors of it getting just thrown onto Hulu. No one knew what was going on, and the fact that Disney released this into theaters in the middle of a pandemic is pretty much a giant fuck you to this movie's existence from the mouse. But I digress. The end result is Josh Boone's original vision, and I gotta applaud him for fighting for it and getting what he was fighting for. It's not common for directors to win when it comes to studio interference, so I'll take this. Good on you, Josh Boone. Good work. So, The New Mutants. Is it good? Kinda. Is it great? No. Is it worth risking your life to see in a theater? Fuck no. The New Mutants is a movie that's fine. It's not great, it's not groundbreaking by any means, but it's a decently fun movie that harkens back to the late 80s, early 90s cheese where edgy teens band together to fight monsters, but through a superhero lens. And as far as superhero movies go, that's never been done before. That's pretty awesome. It's sort of this young adult horror action take on The Breakfast Club, and if nothing else, I can safely say I've never seen that before. Where The New Mutants succeeds is when it leans into that style. It wears its inspirations on its sleeve, from its Dream Warriors-inspired poster art and setting, to the multiple clips of Buffy that are played throughout the movie. This movie is literally telling you how to watch it. There are scenes in this film where people's fears and nightmares start bleeding into reality, and honestly, it handled those elements better than the Nightmare on Elm Street remake did. And while it's not quite on the same level of charm as some of its inspirations, it's still a damn fun time with really good CGI, especially in regards to the Demon Bear, which looks like it was pulled right off the page of a comic. A lot of the creature designs in this movie, from the Smiley Men to the Demon Bear to Sunspot's burnt girlfriend, have a very weird, whimsical feel to them, and they kind of feel like they were pulled out of the cinematic version of it, and I really appreciated that. Between the great monsters and the memorable cast of characters, this movie is a lot of fun. And there are good performances in this movie as well, but the absolute standouts are Maisie Williams and Anya Taylor-Joy. Williams plays a very different character than we're used to seeing, and Rain Sinclair, or Wolfsbane as she's called, is a devout Christian lesbian who can turn into a wolf because she's a mutant. So you can imagine how well that went over with her faith and how that factors into her trauma. And she ends up in this adorable LGBTQ+ relationship with the main character, Danny, and the two of them have an on-screen chemistry that's kind of akin to Willow and Tara from Buffy, which again makes sense given the film's inspirations. Their scenes are the most charming in the film, and honestly I would watch an entire film just based on them. And then you have Anya Taylor-Joy as Ileana Rasputin, the group's mean girl character, and honestly, you can tell she is just loving this role. Ileana keeps people at a distance, and she's often extremely prickly on account of her own trauma. And she's got this little dragon hand puppet named Lockheed who she keeps with her and uses as a coping mechanism. She's badass, she's got some great one-liners, and I'd also watch an entire movie based around her. Charlie Heaton as Cannonball and Henry Zaga as Sunspot are also fine, but they don't really contribute to the plot all that much, and I couldn't stand Charlie Heaton's fake Kentucky accent. But keep in mind, this movie is also far from perfect. It's got a lot of issues, mainly with its writing. There are some awkward tonal shifts here and there, and when the movie starts leaning into one genre or another, it does feel off balance at times. Blue Hunt's performance is particularly particularly lacking, especially considering she's the main character and our point of view character for most of the film. I'll take that back. Her performance isn't bad, but Dani as a character is particularly underdeveloped and never gets a chance to shine the way that Williams or Anya Taylor-Joy do. There's also some really questionable dialogue interspersed throughout, especially in regards to Ileana's initial treatment of Dani when she first arrives at the hospital. She's like really racist toward her for her Native American heritage, and I don't really understand why. And I get what they were going for, honestly. I mean, she's trying to keep people shut out, she wants to keep everybody a distance so she doesn't have to open up. But, like, there are better ways to have your character show that they're mean than have them be, like, openly racist. It kind of makes it harder to sympathize with them, especially when they're, like, one of the heroes of the movie. Thankfully, it seemed to drop after the first act, but it was an odd choice to be sure. This isn't exactly thematically rich as far as superhero movies go. Don't expect something like Civil War or Winter Soldier as far as an actual real-world message. Don't really even expect anything like the message of the other X-Men movies. There's some half-assed coming-of-age shit about facing your fears and growing up, but it's not exactly unique and it's not all that developed. The characters all have their own respective traumas, but I do wish those traumas were more explored in the film. Ileana and Sunspot alone have enough baggage to warrant an entire movie of their own. It's things like that that make me wish that this movie were longer, or at least trimmed of the fat in some other areas, like the setup for the sequel that we're never going to get. Did the New Mutants need to be delayed 4 years? No. Does it even resemble a movie that was in production hell for 4 years? Also, no. It's not great by any means, but my god, the hate I've seen from some of the critics about this movie is the most hyperbolic, absurd bullshit I've ever seen. I mean, this is the worst X-Men movie? This. Have you seen any of these? Look, I'm not here to talk about how wonderful this movie is. It's not wonderful. It's not really even anything special. It's kind of okay, but it's fun, and it has some cool imagery and some badass fight scenes and fun characters, and that's all I wanted from this movie. I don't need it to be groundbreaking. I don't need it to be the next fucking Infinity War or any of the other Marvel movies that were good. I'm gonna say that The New Mutants is good for fans of action horror movies. Like I said, if you're a fan of those late 80s, early 90s edgy teens fight monster movies, I think you'll have a good time with this one. Maybe just wait till home release so you're not risking your life to see it, because it's not worth that. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, click down there, like, comment, subscribe. There's a Patreon link down in the description if you want to donate to this channel, help us grow, make new, better quality content for you all to enjoy. I would really appreciate it. You could be like all these cool people right here. There's all sorts of cool new rewards, anything from access to my private Discord server where we sit and talk about horror movies, to gifts sent right to your door once a month. If any of that interests you, please consider donating. I would really appreciate it, but even if you don't, thank you so much for watching anyway, and I will see you all very soon.
Get some rest.